Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm Sandra. I'm a mom. I've been touched by addiction. Sadly, I lost my son a year ago to addiction. Right here next to me is lovely Luke, who's been in recovery for over 2 years. He's an advocate, and we just want to share our perspective as someone who has been in the using and as a loved one. And today's topic is rock bottom. Rock bottom, the proverbial rock bottom. Rock bottom is like the lowest possible level. Now, as a mom, I've seen my son Ben in what I believe to be rock bottom, and I've talked about this numerous times, numerous overdoses, paralysis, blindness. And when Ben and I spoke about rock bottom, we've done a couple videos, which I will link up. He said that rock bottom doesn't mean anything if you're in denial, right?
Yeah.
And so at the time when I'm thinking he's like finally hit that rock bottom, he said no, because he never accepted it. He denied it.
And that's where that acronym comes
Right?
out, right? Denial. Didn't even know I am lying.
Didn't even know I am lying. I love that acronym.
It is, right? Because your life's on fire. Everything's falling apart, but there's still these ideas that, maybe you can get through it.
Right.
Right?
Now, you've been in recovery a couple of times. Like previous to this recovery, you were in recovery for over 3 years.
Yes.
Now, I would assume you've had 2 major recoveries. You're in it right now. What do you think of rock bottom? Did you hit a rock bottom to get you to that recovery place?
Yeah, and I think, because sometimes when we talk about rock bottom, it's like this big explosion or the DUIs, crashing the cars, maybe there's fatality in it. And mine was my first one. I was actually in jail, but it wasn't even the fact that it was in jail, because I had a lot of times where things with my family, things with jobs that could have been a certain rock bottom.
Yep.
But for me, it was like that first time in my life, the finger wasn't pointing at anybody. It was pointing at me, right? The one finger, there's 3 pointing at you.
Right.
And for the first time in my life, I had that feeling when I looked in that little mirror in Maplehurst of like, I'm the problem. Like, I'm the common denominator. Like, this is nobody else's fault. And that was that first, ever surrender of, I need help. And so the rock bottom to me is when it's an inside thing of, I can't do this anymore. I'm out of options.
Right.
Yeah.
And I know I used to tell Ben, when you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, I'm here to support you. So you get to that place, and I know you talked about, I don't know which stint it was, but you had a choice of either going to recovery or you could off yourself.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So it sounds like you got to a point where you had a choice to make.
Yes.
And we always mention choices. We always have choices. You always have choices. I always have choices is what we do with it. So when you had a choice to go to recovery, I know you were mentioning, well, maybe I'll try this, and if not, I have plan B kind of thing.
Yeah, there was, it was also scary too. It was, I was in a lot of trouble legally. I was looking at, quite a few years prison time for the trouble I got into. And I remember having these thoughts before I got to rehab that first time, 2019. I was like, if this recovery thing doesn't work, there is the option to just end it. I don't want to go do time in prison. And I got into recovery and things started going pretty good. But yeah, there was that ace in the hole of an option of still if this doesn't work out, I could check out. And I got to that when I relapsed and was looking for fentanyl while I was in there, right?
Right. And I think a big takeaway here also is, I know there's been some government initiatives that they're thinking if somebody gets arrested for a drug-related charge, that they'll maybe give them a choice of either going to rehab or jail. And I personally think it's a great idea, because if you choose rehab like you did, you chose recovery.
Yes.
To get to a point where you're clear enough,
Yeah.
then you can make decisions. Because if you, let's say, you chose recovery, your brain started to heal from all the drugs.
Yes.
Wouldn't you say that was a big part of where you are today because of that?
Oh, a big part. I know I've been in the court situation since 2019, going through all the motions, trials and stuff. And one of the blessings that it has taken a long time is I had that time to be in recovery
Right.
Going to stay. None of my stuff was court ordered. Like, I didn't get told I had to go to AA or therapy or pretty much my condition was you can't drink and I wasn't allowed to go anywhere or use drugs, but it was all me that made the choice to go seek out different ways to get help.
Right.
Like, 'cause I didn't want to live the way I was living anymore.
And, you know, and we were talking earlier, one of the things is all of a sudden you had to deal with consequences. I know for me as a mom, many a times at the very beginning when I was still trying to fix Ben, I was in that mom mode of fixing. I prevented Ben from actually going through with consequences. And so I know we talked about, like,
Yes.
if you didn't have consequences, like, you knew mom or dad or somebody was going to be there to bail you out. Would you say that?
Yes, yeah. Well, because the first time I ended up in jail in 2019 when I first found recovery, now I remember the phone call with my dad. He was pretty broken up and upset, but he said he was going to get me a lawyer, and I asked why, and pretty much with tears in his, I could hear in his voice, he said, you know, you're our son, we love you, and we know you need to get help. But then the second time when I relapsed after 3.5 years, my mom and him were like, listen, we tried and we can't do this anymore. And I even called another guy in recovery, and he said, Luke, like, I can't trust you. Because everybody was
Right.
shocked. Everybody was shocked when I went back out, you know, like they couldn't believe it with how good I was doing leading up to that.
Right.
And so my safety nets, anybody I could have reached out to for help, they weren't there. And that's when I remember sliding down that back wall and like, how am I going to do this? And that's where like the suicide ideation and
Right.
wanting to end my life with fentanyl came in.
Right. So all of a sudden, the consequences were yours.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Nobody was there to fix it for you. And I say this because there are so many loved ones trying to stop the consequences from happening. Because we always I know for me, I always had that fear, like if I don't do something, he could die. Or whatever.
Yeah,
but you know, I
yeah.
realized looking back, I did lose my son, but I know I couldn't have prevented it. You know, so.
Yeah, and that's powerful. Like, that's so powerful because I know some people can listen to that and probably be like, how? Like, how can you have that? And that's just like a full surrender to the powerlessness of like, we can't fix somebody if they're not in that willingness yet, right?
Absolutely, because what I thought was like, oh, I just want Ben to hit his rock bottom. Like, you know, if he just hits his rock bottom, then he'll get help. Well, I've witnessed, you know, the paralysis, the blindness, and all that, and so close to death, like overdoses. And in his lifetime of addiction, it was up to 100, if not more, overdoses, if you could imagine.
Wow.
So, and I couldn't have prevented all that. So, and I just hear Ben saying, well, rock bottom, if you're in denial, there is no rock bottom. And sometimes rock bottom is death. And that's the reality. And that sucks.
Yes.
Believe me, that sucks. But, you know, coming from you saying they can't, nobody can prevent it. It's all on you.
No.
Like your recovery, your, whatever is your rock bottom, you hope that that rock bottom isn't some big catastrophe.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't have to be.
It doesn't have to be.
Because you also mentioned, and quickly, that there are some people that use in isolation.
Yeah.
So they don't have that maybe catastrophe type rock bottom.
No,
right?
but they get to that internal surrender place of like, I can't live like this anymore. Maybe I need to do something about this, right? And so you're looking, that's why you can't compare people, because that person might not have ended up in jail or, you know, in some sort of medical emergency thing, but just eventually hit this place where they were done
Within.
inside, right?
Yeah.
It's an inside job, right? Yeah.
Inside job, I like
Yeah.
that. And just one last thing is, you were in recovery for over 3 years. And one thing you mentioned earlier today is that it's just a step away for relapse. Right? Like, because people were shocked.
Yes.
People were shocked. You know that this recovery is different. You're being more honest within. So it's just letting people know that when somebody's in recovery, it's work.
Yeah, it's a lifetime thing.
Because at any moment you could I could have that one drink or one whatever. But
like if I turn my back on the things I need to do, and there's times I've gotten complacent and things like that, but if I was to fully just like, no, I'm gonna do what I want and not take care of my recovery first, I'm very close to picking up a drink, a drug, and people will be like, what just happened?
Right.
But like, I'm never fully safe. Like, that's why I said to you earlier, just quickly, I always identify as an alcoholic or a drug addict, and some people will say, well, you shouldn't label yourself. Well, when I see the guy on the street that's still using, I'm just like him. I'm in recovery today. I'm a human being that's found recovery. He just hasn't yet, but I'm just like him. My thinking goes the exact same way.
And all I know, Luke, I'm so honored to know you, and I'm so glad you're in recovery, because you are a decent freaking human being. I'm gonna cry because I get emotional, because this is recovery. This person was that person out on the streets that we see. And so this is what we want to remove, that stigma, that those are human beings that are like you, Luke. They just haven't found the recovery. So just keep that in mind. Just, if you take anything away, just remember they're human beings. They're people that are making a difference. You're making a difference. You're supporting others. And
that person you see on the street might one day be the person who helps a loved one of yours that falls into addiction.
You just gave me goosebumps. And on that note, remember, where there is breath,
there is hope.
Amen.
Amen.
Peace. Take care, everybody.
See you guys.
Bye.